STARZ is newly like becoming very prevalent, at least from an outsider's perspective like mine, with the how big power is getting.
Is huge. Yeah.
So has power getting so big, has that changed the demographic and the average viewership of the other shows that you produce?
Definitely.
Like, are more like,
yeah.
For instance, are like more people of color going to watch Dublin Murders now because
maybe not, but our CEO has talked about too, like STARZ power skews female too, which is surprising.
No
but
way, really?
But so we definitely are. I'd say the overall demographic that STARZ is older females. So our programming team, when they hear pitches and stuff, and they go to greenlight stuff, they look through that lens of when they're going to greenlight shows and order certain shows and pitch on stuff. So
does The Office skew female too?
I don't know if The Office skews female, but like for example, The Office wouldn't really make sense, a comedy sitcom.
I mean, like your
Office.
I thought
you meant the show.
No, dudes love The Office.
No, our Office, totally, yeah. And
way more chicks in The Office.
So my CMO's a woman. She's awesome. My whole team are women as well. Yeah. Hi, I'm Nick, and this is my golden hour.
Oh God, what's going on? Where am I going? Dad?
Yes, my son. I am Deuce, the deer god.
I'm so confused. Who am I?
Derek. Your true name is Darkules.
Wait, what?
Yes. You are Darkules, the god of the forest. Season 5.
Hosted by your favorite podcast host, Big Bochi. You already know the deal, mother. What's up? Said hike? What? Before we start.
Yep.
Real quick. Hey, listen, everybody. If you're listening to this episode, my name is Conor Hallway. But today, we're in Los Angeles. I'm going to refer to myself as Big Boston because I'm an egomaniac. If you by chance get any sort of value from this episode, whether it's you're entertained, you learn something, just share it with a friend. That's all we ask. And if you want to leave it a rating and review, Blake, that'd be huge. And so listen, before I introduce my guest on the right, everybody, we know the deal. The elephant's in the room.
Hey,
Who's
this is Jack?
That's my best friend. We call him Bix.
Love Jack.
Yes, sir. You got lucky today. Come on, Blake. Absolutely.
Come on down.
Me and Blake met in the...
Hi.
What's the name of the podcast?
It's TBD right now.
Okay, but when is it going to
It's
launch?
in the works.
I'm not with Mike and I figure it out.
Okay,
Ooh.
cool. Blake's got a podcast coming. Then, our host.
Dude.
Mike, do you have a mic over there for yourself?
I don't. I do, but I didn't activate it, so it would be worthless.
Okay, do you want to shout? Or do you want to
What's
come up?
up?
Okay, there's Mike again. Fresh. And listen, this is our second episode of our LA tour.
Very exciting.
And we have an incredibly astute and intuitive young man on the show today.
Huh.
Nick Warner. Woo! Well, is it? Do you want to say Nick or Nicholas?
Nick.
Okay, Nick straight.
Nick's good, yeah.
That's what they call you at the office, Nick.
That is what they call me at the office.
So, to be honest, Nick and I had talked when I was at PC. I don't know, like 2018 or something.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, and so I had just
Talking about entertainment. Yeah.
Well, I just made the film. I just made our film, The Adventures of Adderall Boy. And I was like, hey, man, I kind of want to get into this after school, blah, blah, blah. And you were so transparent with me, man. You're like, yo, I'm going to be honest, dude. You should probably play the internet. Like, yeah, I wouldn't come to L.A. It's, like, super competitive out here.
I wasn't that, but yeah.
But you were like...
I gave you some ideas, and I gave you some, feedback.
We listened.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, man, we got to build in Boston.
Yeah.
This is coming from the pro. Like, we got to do it. And so we kind of just started after just building in Boston, thanks to you.
I don't want to take all the credit for that.
And now we're in L.A.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Can you give a quick synopsis of who you are and what you do?
Sure. Nick Warner, senior manager for originals marketing at STARZ. Before STARZ,
Newly promoted.
New job. I've been there a little under 6 months now. Before that, I was at Lionsgate doing creative advertising. So it's really just working on the marketing campaigns, positioning, strategy, the decks, kind of starting out before you start a marketing campaign, reading the scripts, how are we going to sell it, what's going to pop, what's not going to pop, working with our research teams, and then from there, as we get episodes in, creating all the creative assets. So trailers,
Constant chaos.
fires every day to put out.
Is that the position you're in now? Now that you're more senior, are you more like problem solving, or are you actually still on the creative?
Oh no, it's a lot of both. And what I at Lionsgate, it was more so. I mean, all the studios are set up a little differently, but at Lionsgate it was primarily TV spots, trailers, anything AV. It was AV, creative advertising. We would work closely with the digital team and the print team to make sure like everything was aligning and our campaigns were cohesive. But now at STARZ, we have an originals team, and it's 2 teams of 3, and it's just like, it's kind of everything, very, very much ownership of the whole campaign, which is really cool. So like I said, reading the scripts, meeting with the showrunners, telling them how we're going to sell their shows.
Is it more of a pressure for you now though, because you're in a more senior position, or you're like, damn.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more pressure with like the ownership and the responsibility comes
more leadership?
Definitely, yeah, comes that pressure and more of the, when a show debuts, and it, how the ratings are, the subscribers, how many subscribers we're adding in any given month, and then just the overall landscape is just so competitive now, where we're a smaller fish in a huge pond. There's just so many streaming platforms launching with a lot of money and really deep pockets.
Is Disney Plus big right now?
It launches November 12th.
But people are really excited about it, right?
Oh yeah, Disney Plus will be huge, and they're going to bundle ESPN Plus and Hulu with that. So that'll be big.
You're pissed.
No, not at all. It's an exciting time to be in entertainment. I mean, it's always changing, and the marketing landscape, marketing, entertainment, content, the content boom, it's going to continue to grow, at least for the next couple years. I don't know if it'll die down anytime soon. It's kind of like an arms race of content right now.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Like, are people ever going to get sick of seeing like just constant stuff on their phone? Are people going to shift more into audio, do you think? Are people going to shift more into
I don't
video?
think so. I mean, have you heard of Quibi?
No. What is that?
Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman. I'm gonna
be honest. You drop a lot of these LA names. I got no clue who they are sometimes.
He was the head of Pixar for a while, or high up there, and at Disney. He is launching Quibi, which stands for Quick Bites, and it's going to be he's betting on the millennial audience to come in and watch everything on your phones. So it's going to be short episodes. I'm talking 5-10 minute episodes, 10 episodes maybe. I'm not sure if it's going to be everything at once or linear, like once a week or something like that. And he's banking on everyone paying. I think it's something that's going to be like $4.99, $5.99, and they're watching on your phone. So it's just interesting. And people already spend so much time on your phone. It'd be a lot to ask, which I still see people on planes watching Netflix on their phone. But like, to ask someone to only watch 10 minutes, think about people that are really busy and you want to go to bed and you want to watch something. Open it up on your phone.
Well, it's convenient. I think humans would rather be sedentary.
Mm-hmm. And he's signing a lot of really good big names and talent, and I think that they're understanding the platform they're going to be on. So something that on your phone, you wouldn't want to watch all of Game of Thrones on your phone. So I think they're.
But who knows?
Who knows? I mean, but I think the shows, they're going to be innovative, and they're going to be like, I heard one thing where they're going to have a horror show, and you can only watch the show past midnight on your phone.
That's mad.
So like things like that, and he's challenging his engineers to get really innovative and interesting things like that. And
like you have to airplane all your other apps, maybe.
Yeah, it's something weird, and they're doing news shows, and they're going to do all these other. So it'll be like, I don't know. I think it's going to be big. They're betting a lot. They're going to have advertising as well. So we'll see.
So are you in a position where it's like, shoot, like I just got into the streaming space, and now the industry's already changing, shoot, I have to like adjust really quick?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, you need to be up on everything. So like, I pride myself to really push myself to be so up on everything. So whether that's reading all the trades every day, reading Ad Week, listening to podcasts, watching as much as I can, and just knowing the latest, because things are changing so quickly from an advertising perspective, from a content perspective, and as marketers, like, you just really need to, I think the main thing is, which I learned from my old boss at Lionsgate, just kind of have a holistic approach and understand everything going on, because it all feeds into marketing. So whether that's being up on food, sports, culture, what's going on in the news, all that kinds of stuff, it can affect your campaign and what you put in, and the TV spots that we're making, and the advertising, and who we're trying to hit, and understanding people, and all that kind of stuff. It all feeds into marketing So just trying to stay up on all that kind of stuff. I
So
try
you're
to do
totally consumed all the time. Are you?
yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming, but like yes, to a certain extent, yeah.
Do you
Whether
feel
it's TV
overconsumed?
I do.
What's your iPhone time looking like? Your screen time, is it ridiculous?
I think it's averaging between 7 and 8 hours.
That's not absurd.
Yeah.
What are you at, Jack? Because you're really low.
Probably like 4 hours or less.
Yeah. What are you?
3.
No way.
Yeah, because I.
Maybe I was 5. I might have lied.
No. Well, I mean, I push out a lot of content, so I'm closer to like 7
Yeah.
too. But dude, I've started to like totally think I'm losing my mind. When you go to sleep, are you ever thinking about the content you saw earlier in the day?
Oh yeah. When
That is the scariest shit ever.
Some of my best like ideas and stuff, like they say, like the shower thoughts. I have a whole thing I have a whole notes section in my phone of just I'll be like trying to go to bed. And I don't fall asleep easily. Like my head's still spinning all the time, and I'll just have a random idea of a show, or it'll just hit you at the most random time, and I just write it quickly down in my notes before I forget it. Wake up the next day and talk about it with my boss.
I mean, like when you're in bed, right? You and your wifey. You know what I'm saying? You guys are chilling, like, oh my god.
Not my wife yet.
Okay, wifey, it's your shorty. So when you're on your phone, like let's say you put your phone down for the last 2 hours of the day, are you thinking of stuff you had seen on Instagram earlier in the day, or you had seen on Twitter?
Oh yeah. I mean, as a society, I think we're always on. And I talked to my mom about this too, with even in the last 5-10 years. Like my mom worked at Disney Publishing in New York for 15 years, and she would talk about how you clocked out, you go home, and that'd be it. There's no phone, and there wasn't this expectation of you to always be on in the business sense. Now it's like I have my phone, something pops up at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. We're expected to put out the fire because we have the ability to do that with the technology now. So it's like always on. I'm always checking. First thing I do in the morning is check my email, and it's just
Do you love it though?
I do love it. Yeah, I find
He's pumped. So let's go.
I find
Let's go market some products.
The crazy thing that I find is like I'll go on a 1 or a 2 week vacation, and like 7-8 days in, I'm like kind of like itching to get back to work, which is like I tell people that and they think I'm crazy, but
Dude,
it's
looking in my eyes. I feel you.
And it's
I like chaos,
and
dude,
it's a lot. It comes down to like I know people that they just don't like what they do, and it's like it comes down to like I love what I do. Like when I get a trailer posted, I get excited. Like from a creative agency when they post it, when I get rounds of print in
that
things
Dublin
like
Murders
that.
trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
Fire.
Thank you, sir.
Did you oversee
excited.
the whole thing?
Yeah, me and my boss. We worked on that together.
Dude, it was incredible.
Thank you.
I feel like with that, so we're referencing a trailer that Nick recently released. I saw it on LinkedIn, but there's a new show coming out. It's a STARZ original, correct?
Yes, it is. Called Dublin Murders.
Talk about this. Yeah. We don't delve into it too much. Just from an advertising perspective, it's about. Can you give a quick synopsis of what the show's about?
Yeah, it's a BBC show that we acquired, and it's about two detectives who have an interesting past. So it's very similar to True Detective. Where,
I was going to say True Detective in Ireland. Kinda.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it's kind of there. Something happens, and there's obviously like a girl is murdered, but that's the backstory to more of this interesting thing about these two detectives. They're hiding something. Something's mysterious. Kind of a thing, and it's a mini series. It's going to be interesting.
So when you were lining up to launch the first trailer, were you referencing some of the marketing material True Detective had put out?
Oh yeah.
Because
and
there's a drone shot that's twisting, that's circular.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I've definitely seen that in True Detective.
Yeah, I mean, to speak from a general perspective too, we do that all the time. Where I guess like to walk you through a campaign. So like we will make a creative brief, kind of how we're going to sell the show. We get the scripts in, we read them. And then things start as early out as when they start shooting the show, where we start coming up with, we'll fly out to shoot the print for a show. So then we'll have creative agencies.
What does that mean?
To shoot the print.
Yeah.
Like go out and like all those posters, all the billboards you see.
Oh, bring them into the studio, take the pictures and
well,
stuff.
no, we'll fly out to production and do it there. So basically, we'll read the scripts, get a feel for it, and then we have all these amazing creative agencies. Literally, they have sketch artists. So all those billboards that you see everywhere. The more simple ones, maybe like the Marvel ones where it's like 15 heads. I don't know if those started out as sketches, but for the most part, a lot of the billboards, a lot of TV billboards, those were thought through 12, 18 months before. It's crazy how much thought goes into marketing. So we'll get all these sketches in and these concepts and kind of get a feel for what we want, and then we kind of end up picking one and work with the producers and make sure that everyone's on an agreement, and then we'll fly out and we will hire a photographer. It's a whole big thing, and we shoot the talent
on location.
On location while they're filming. You find a good time, either it's when they're first starting production, towards the middle or towards the end, and you get everyone you need. And when we go out, we usually try to knock everything off our list. So that's shooting the key art, gallery. So whenever you're seeing like different shots of like all the cast, kind of just like really, really, really good shots, that gallery's planned too, and everything is thought through of just, what's the concept for the gallery, and is there going to be a special AV marketing component to it? So when you see a special shoot, so content that lives outside of the show itself, Game of Thrones has done it a lot. A lot of the streaming platforms do stuff.
What's an example of that content that lives outside the show?
God, I'm trying to think. Off the
Like
top
you're
of
talking
my
about
head.
like a video game?
No. Sorry, like a special shoot. So it's not it's a trailer that is not cut from the show. So like a special shoot of something. I'm trying to think of an example of something. Yeah.
Game of Thrones did it a lot.
Yeah, Game of Thrones did it a lot. So it's just like it's like a special shoot. So whether it's like Game of Thrones, even when they released, I'm trying to think.
Okay, I'm a little lost in the woods on here. So wait, so you mean they shoot
like an AV, a special shoot? So
yeah,
we'll come up with a concept. So just like, for example, like
you shoot a trailer that's not content that's in the show.
So
like
exactly.
when Daenerys and Jon Snow, spoiler, are all walking towards the throne.
Exactly.
That wasn't actually
in the show, but HBO probably came up with that concept and was like, hey, we're gonna shoot this. It's gonna live outside, and where it fits into the campaign. Is that gonna be the first piece we open up with? Is it something that we drop in the middle? Do we drop it towards the end? All those kinds of things. So we'll fly out, knock all these things. Sometimes it takes as long as a week. We'll be out there with production to get through all these different things. So did you fly out to
Dublin for the most recent?
I did not. I came in late on that one.
Some
my
BS,
boss
man.
And so so then you knock that out, get all the footage back, get the photography back, and then these creative agencies that we work with, and we work at STARZ, we have an internal team too, so we'll have both working on stuff. And the creative agencies, I can't say enough about them. They're so good at what they do. There are dozens of them in Hollywood, and they kind of it's very similar to ad agency, but they kind of specialize in entertainment marketing. They do everything from posters. They have graphics, music supervisors. Like literally, they do everything. Digital,
so
social.
when did the plans start for the most recent show? How far back?
For what?
For Dublin Murders.
Oh, they get everything is different depending on if it's an acquisition or a production or all that. But you can start 12, 18 months out from when the show's even going to release. It's pretty crazy. And then we'll get the photography back. And then from there, once the show, we start getting the episodes back, then we start on the trailer and all that.
And when you're formulating the plan to market the show,
Mm-hmm.
are you also forming like the post-release content as well? Like, okay, now this is how we're going to push the show.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's every show is different.
But that's all planned at the
beginning.
beginning.
Yeah. And every campaign is different and fluid. But we have a whole rollout of, what are you look at a larger view of different dates. When are we going to drop the teaser? What makes sense is there a debut that makes sense? We're going to debut it, will there be a teaser on the Oscars, and then we'll throw it to everyone, go watch it online. Disney does it a lot. I mean, they have so many. They have ESPN at their disposal, where like they just launched the recent Star Wars trailer on ESPN on Monday night.
Scott Van Pelt launched it.
Exactly, which is smart. So you have Monday night, Monday Night Football, which is one of the highest rated things. So you already have,
and also the demographic watching it is so
exactly,
vast.
and it's so broad, and it's a 4-quad.
That's what Star Wars is.
Exactly. So you already have 20 million people watching it. Drop the trailer, that's already 20 million eyeballs that watched it, and you might be getting. They probably think too. There might be some males, some older males that might not be into Star Wars, and you might sway them on. They might be on the fence, and you might sway them to actually watch Star Wars.
I'm seeing that movie. It looks fire.
Yeah, it looks really good. But yeah, so there's a whole rollout. So I have a whole rollout of everything we're gonna do, and our team, the originals team, we work closely with our digital team as well. So they're doing all those ads you get served on Instagram. We kind of work with them to create some of the content. They'll do a lot of it on their own, social posts, all that. And
you're the devil, man. You're spamming us.
And they'll work really close. We'll work really closely with them, and you just kind of work on the whole rollout, the cadence of it, making sure that you have enough assets out in the world at a certain period of time, what makes sense when, looking at the story, the sport, of course there's spoilers and all kinds of TV, especially TV shows that's been coming from Lionsgate and the theatrical side. It was, you use the first 60-70% of the movie, everything else is kind of a spoiler. TV, it's like we can only use the first couple.
Yeah.
There's some shots you can use in later episodes, but it's like the first couple episodes are the main things that you're going to edit with and that you're going to utilize for the campaign. So it's been an adjustment to learn those kinds of things.
So question. STARZ is newly like becoming very prevalent, at least from an outsider's perspective like mine, with the how big power is
Power
getting.
is huge.
So
Yeah.
has power getting so big, has that changed the demographic and the average viewership of the other shows that you produce?
Definitely.
Like are more like,
Yeah.
for instance, are like more people of color going to watch Dublin Murders now because
Maybe,
Power's on the
maybe
network?
not, but our CEO has talked about too, like STARZ power skews female too, which is surprising.
No
but
way, really?
But so we definitely are. I'd say the overall demographic that STARZ is older females. So our programming team, when they hear pitches and stuff, and they go to greenlight stuff, they look through that lens of when they're going to greenlight shows and order certain shows and pitch on stuff. So
Does
like
The Office skew female too?
I don't know if The Office skews female, but like for example, The Office wouldn't really make sense, as
No, I mean
a comedy
like,
sitcom.
I mean like your
Oh, I
Office.
thought you meant the
Yeah,
show.
no. Dudes love The Office.
No, our office totally, yeah. And
Way more chicks
Yeah,
in The
so
Office.
my CMO's a woman. She's awesome. My whole team are women as well. Yeah, it's a lot of women.
did you grow up with
and
women?
I think, but yeah,
you?
I grew up with two sisters.
Me too.
Yeah, so I'm very comfortable in the office. I really like working with women. They're all super smart, and it obviously makes sense when when that's our demographic and the shows that we're leaning towards.
How do
Lean
they pick
female.
dudes? Like, do they pick dudes who like have a feminine side?
I don't know. Maybe yeah, I got lucky.
I got one too, man. Don't worry. I'm pretty metro, honestly. Keep it a buck. I'm like really obsessed with my body now.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So power was huge, and
Huge.
and that definitely lays the groundwork for there's obviously more spin-offs for that, the Power universe, if you will, in the works. That's actually the other marketing team that works on Power.
Is there competition within the office between the marketing teams?
Oh no, we get along really
Coexist.
well. We bounce ideas off each other. We show each other, comps, print comps, posters, all that kind of stuff. And we're very, we work really well together. We're like, I've heard, at other studios and places, it can get pretty competitive.
I was going to say,
terms of
most companies like you actually encourage inner competition between your employees.
yeah. I mean,
You're such a team effort, though. I feel
I
like
have
there's
heard
no
stories
space.
of some studios where, I mean, it's kind of crazy where certain smaller pods of advertising teams are working on the same film. So they're they're basically at like an arms race to win the trailer. They call it the trailer finish. So that means like there could be two different
ideas for trailers.
Yeah, or two different teams working on cutting trailers, and they're both working to land the finish. And I mean, I think in a way, like you said, it can bring out like like being competitive. It can bring out the best in the work, but also, I mean, personally, I think it can also breed not the best work,
Well, dude, if
work
I were
atmosphere.
you and I wanted to raise, I would go straight to the Power office, douse every piece of document they have in gasoline and burn it.
Bad idea.
Because then, like, dude, I'm the only one producing the show out here. Cut that check. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, can you kind of elaborate a little bit on how you started and you grinded up to the point you're at? Because
Definitely.
you were like stock boy mailroom.
Yeah, close. So I guess my full story is grew up in Jersey, wanted to get away for college, went to LMU, Loyola Marymount University, got in there and a couple other West Coast schools.
Oh, you applied only out here?
No, I got into like I mean like UMass, Syracuse. There are a couple East Coast ones that I considered, and I wasn't like I need to be in entertainment at that time. It was kind of, and a lot of people say the same thing where it kind of just rubs off on you. Flew out.
You always knew
loved
you were a
school.
psycho, honestly. I've always known like I love
Yeah.
fast moving.
100%. That was definitely part of it.
It was Hoboken
and new.
slow. It's a slower than the city, but
Yeah, but it was still like pretty. It wasn't like small New Jersey suburb at all. It was still. I mean, the city was right.
Pretty
in our
turbulent,
backyard.
yeah.
And so came out. Was always interested in advertising. So I had that in the back of my mind, but didn't know if I wanted to do a full like marketing degree and all that. So I majored in psychology, which I loved, kind of social sciences and learning that side of the advertising world. And then
Vital for your
junior
job.
year, my brother-in-law knew someone in Lionsgate, It was someone he went to high school with, and I interned with him and stayed in contact.
What was that internship like?
The internship was awesome. So I came in.
It was awesome. I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna say
Oh no!
toilets.
I mean, it was at the time it was like burning DVDs and sending packages and stuff. But that's everyone puts
Burning
in
DVDs.
Yeah, that they were still in the DVD.
Was this in
phase.
the 1800s, man?
And so did that, and it was during the beginning of the Hunger Games phase. So Lionsgate as a company was kind of really coming into their own.
Whoa, what
And
was that? What was that like?
It was interesting. I mean, they were literally in the middle of a growth period, and they had just acquired Summit too. So they got the Now You See Me movies, the Twilight movies, and they were really becoming a big powerhouse from like just doing the Medea movies and the horror and the Jigsaws and the Saws. And then
For reference, Lionsgate had started initially as just doing like mostly like horror movies,
indie.
Tyler Perry movies.
Indie movies,
and it was a slow growth.
Yeah,
but they were kind of known as like taking risks on.
Oh yeah,
certain
like
projects,
even
right?
like Crash was a risk, and it won Best Picture. And then I stayed in contact with the Lionsgate boss, and then I actually did an internship called the Creative Minds program, which was awesome, where you essentially pay them money and they find an internship for you out in Cannes. So graduated the next day, I was on a flight, went out to the Cannes Film Festival. They put you up in housing, and you're with all these other people that want to be in entertainment. So I'm still really close with 4 or 5 of those people now, and we're all doing very different things in entertainment.
Everybody.
Yeah, so you kind of created this mini network, and I went to all the screenings, did all that, and my old Lionsgate boss was out there, and I got dinner with him, and then everything fell into place.
What screened at that Cannes? What was the big movie?
Grace of Monaco.
I haven't seen that. And you guys seen that?
It wasn't Grace.
No.
It wasn't great.
It was whack.
You know what I saw that was amazing? It wasn't the main event screening. Foxcatcher.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
either. Who's
that? That was the wrestling movie with Steve Carell. Where that was like one of his first really dramatic roles, and like it was Steve Carell and
who directed it?
His name? I don't remember who directed it.
Foxcatcher.
But it was like I thought he was going to win the Oscar for it. I think he got nominated. I don't think he won though. But yeah, it was wild being at Cannes, being there for 2 weeks, and that kind of reaffirmed this is definitely the industry that I want to be in, kind of a thing. And then I got back, and then my old boss called me a month later, started as an assistant.
What is that like? Because I don't think a lot of people have epiphanies like that, where you're like, oh my God, like I know this is what I want to do. I know this.
Yeah.
What was it, like a clicking moment?
Yeah, like I call it like an aha moment. Yeah, so
a lot of people call it that, Nick, bro. Like, yeah, that's my thing.
I actually coined that. I'd say my first one was where I was like, this is so cool. It was like the end of a day, and I could have gone home, but my one of my bosses at Lionsgate, while I was still an intern, was like, do you want to come with us? We're going to go pull clips for Catching Fire, the Hunger Games Catching Fire. I was like, sure, yeah. So we went to our creative agency that had the movie, and this was in the summer, and it wasn't coming out till like November. So I got to see the whole movie early, and it was awesome, and just going through it and finding places to clip and what would work for
you were
what.
Just excited as hell.
Yeah, I was like a fly on the wall watching. I was like, this is so cool, talking about what would be good appearance clips for Jennifer Lawrence, what would be good appearance for Woody, all that kind of stuff, and thinking about it, and just like something so small, and it sounds kind of simplistic, but that was like, I was like, this is so cool. So that was like the first one. And then as an intern, still I didn't creatively work on the trailers there, but like the trailers that I kind of watched my bosses oversee, and then going into theaters and sitting there and watching the trailers play. And I was
like a gratifying experience?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't even like worked at those yet. I worked on them directly as an intern, but it was just cool. And it's also cool to, like I said to you earlier, like people don't realize the amount of thought and research and time and all the stuff that goes into the marketing materials. Like before I even got into this industry, I thought like, oh yeah, 2 minutes, and the trailer's 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the best stuff in the movie. There's so much that goes into it. There's a lot of those movies, you have 5, 10, 15 different trailer cuts. There's so much thought. There's testing and research and audience reviews and all this stuff that goes into it. So it was cool to sit in that theater with my friends and see something that that team had worked on at that time, and know the specific points of like remembering what a certain audio bite. I remember when they got rid of that. I know the thought behind why we use this kind of music for it, the editorial, the graphics, everything that goes into these trailers and the marketing. Like thinking, it's just all really interesting to me. It was really cool to see like, all the different thought of every small thing that everyone else in this audience doesn't realize went into it, but I do. And that was kind of my moment. Yeah.
This guy loves marketing. If you could market a tangible product, what would you
Yeah.
market? Like if it, like you could work for any brand
God.
outside of entertainment. Like you could market a singular product.
Yeah.
What would it be?
It's tough. A singular product. Not Juul, I'll say that.
Not Cigs. Okay.
Juul's not having a good moment right now.
They're kind of marketing fire, aren't they?
Yeah, but-
Marketing fire.
There you go. You just came up with their copy. I've always been. I'm a big sports fanatic too. So I've always been interested
Jets?
in Jets. Yeah,
It's a tough look, bro.
we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Patch
But
smoked them.
I think it'd be in terms of sports marketing has always been another interest to me. If like entertainment, if I ever
That's
were
kind
to
of
go to a different.
That's all like intertwined though. I mean, like if you were to
Yeah.
market like in a grocery store, I want to place my product on these shelves and I
Mm-hmm.
want to market it and drive consumers to my product. What would it be? Let's say just a grocery store.
So food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some sort of food. What product?
That's tough. What would yours be? I'm trying to think.
Something in the health and wellness space.
Yeah, I mean,
would try.
if you're looking at the business perspective of what's gonna pop now, like maybe I'm really into these RX bars. Have you ever had them?
Is that what you're eating, Adib?
They're
No.
pretty good.
RX?
They have some funny advertising with who is it? I think it's like iced tea, and I got served them on my phone where it's like the RX bar. And he like opens.
Oh,
up-
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So those are cool.
And he's like, oh yeah, he opens the door. and then
Yeah,
he closes
and,
it.
and he like reads what's on the ingredients, and their tagline is like no BS because it's like all natural ingredients, which
Mm-hmm.
is cool. So I would agree with you. Probably something in the health and wellness. It's not the time now, or not fun to be on marketing for soft drinks and Pepsi and Coke and things like that, and just not. It's a tough time for junk food and things like that. People are becoming more health conscious and all that kinds of stuff. So for marketers, that is not an easy. And you're also seeing like brands like Coke and Pepsi, and they're acquiring these health companies because they realize where we're headed as a society.
We kind of just got America kind of chunky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but so
You know what would be one?
we will live in very progressive areas
Yeah.
though. I wonder if it's a different perspective for a marketer in somewhere in more rural America.
Oh,
though.
totally. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure consumers are still wiping soft drinks out.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, of course, there's in Middle America and in some places, I'm sure they still are. Like overall, business wise,
Yeah, I feel you.
it's taking a hit. But I guess one that I actually had an advertising class in college, and we had to pick a company and like rebrand and
Like flip the brand.
Yeah, flip the brand. So I did Jack in the Box, and I did it towards because Jack in the Box. This whole thing is like kind of stoner culture,
Is it?
older. Oh yeah, like all their like the munchie meal.
Is that
like,
just Cali Jack in the
No,
Box?
that's not. I mean, that's their national campaigns. But if you look at like the
No, I mean, are they in New Jersey, Jack in the Box?
I don't know if they're in New Jersey. They're definitely pretty national.
Okay.
But their brand is like munchie meals and these humorous. They're targeting younger and older males.
So how'd you
This
flip
kinda
it,
like
Jack in the Box?
No, so I did what Jack in the Box, kind of try to do the McDonald's avenue and go towards and market towards kids. Kind of clean up their brand a little bit and just kind of use Jack as the and just do a kind of a younger sell kind of a thing. So that was fun to work on.
White Castle has that brand right now, kind of too.
Oh,
right?
totally, yeah.
'Cause didn't they do the
there's
Harold
an
and Kumar movie?
Yeah, I'm sure they needed their approval for that movie, so that movie helped set what their brand is and kind of like how people viewed it in the public.
What's the most fire fast food out here?
I like In-N-Out.
Yeah, we haven't had it yet.
There's the In-N-Out Shake Shack debate, which
Well, Shake Shack's not really Cali though, right?
no, I know. I'm saying though, like of overall burger, which is better? What I haven't had is Whataburger. I've heard Whataburger is supposed to be really good.
Is Five Guys out here?
Five Guys is out here. I've never been a huge Five Guys fan. They have good fries, but the burger for me doesn't. You gotta get In-N-Out.
We'll try it.
There's one right by LAX before you leave.
How do we do it with no carbs?
They do a lettuce
Blake,
wrap.
tell me, what was it?
Protein style.
They do a lettuce wrap.
Lettuce.
Sounds totally unappetizing,
It's
Yeah.
gross.
but sounds like I'm in. As long as I stay hot.
For me, In-N-Out is best bang for your buck too. You can get like a double and fries, and you're like spending like $6-7.
How'd you get those pipes, man?
Lettuce wraps.
Just let us wraps. So in Adib, you can probably attest to this too. In a company structure out here,
Mm-hmm.
how does your company incentivize its employees to stay healthy? Because I'm noticing out here people
Yeah.
are way more health conscious than where we're from.
Yeah. One thing that they've done since at Lionsgate, since I started, is this thing called like a wellness pledge, and I think they knock off $50 a month on your health insurance that just gets taken out of your paycheck, ends up at a couple $100 over the whole year. And I mean, it's kind of a little, you just go in and you do these quizzes and these things like that about being healthy. And so you knock out, you gain a certain amount of points and you do it before a certain date, and then you get that money knocked off. So that's like one of the main things that they do, which I think has been pretty cool. And then they have snacks that are on the healthier side. Cool. Got some almond milk in the fridge.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, that's probably the main way they incentivize.
Incentivize us. It's like my favorite word. It's the only big word I know.
But I mean, LA as a whole, everyone's pretty health conscious and all that kind of stuff.
Well, one thing Jack and I noticed when we got off the plane, it's like, dude, LA is like such a metropolis. The city is huge.
It's so sprawling.
They're like, you're being marketed to constantly.
Oh,
like
yeah.
This is the most simple room I've been in since we've been out here. How prevalent, like, how do you market on a local level here, market it in original, as opposed to a global level where the competition and cutting through isn't as tough as it is in this city?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're constantly getting shit thrown at you.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, we're gonna, in terms of LA and New York is like the two cities that we market most in terms of just simple things of like outdoor billboards.
Do you have something in Times Square for Dublin Murders?
No, but we did for Power, which like I think we like took over Times Square, which is pretty wild. They had all these, all the character posters everywhere, which was pretty cool.
That check must have been fat.
Yep. But in terms of, I mean, obviously LA and New York too. If you look at our subscribers and stuff, like the big cities, that's where people are gonna pop. In terms of advertising specific, I mean, I think outdoor is the main one. There are local buys, but we're still doing a lot of national media and stuff.
You guys don't pour like all your money into like Instagram and Facebook marketing?
No, we do. Yeah, I was about to say that. But like and you can target geographically too. But we do a lot of, it's insane what you can do with Instagram and stuff now. But we can.
Dude, you can get so specific.
You can get very specific, and they're called affinities. So it's kind of like it's based off your habits on Instagram and on Facebook, and what you click is kind of. And like Netflix has an algorithm where they, based off what you watch, they place you in a certain thing, which is how they serve you new stuff of what they think you'll like. It's the same for everything that you do online, which there's a thing on Google Chrome where you can go to incognito mode where they're not searching you. But if you're not on that,
I did a lot of that in middle school.
Yeah. Every time you're clicking certain things on Instagram and what you follow and what you like, same with Facebook, same with everything that you're on. That's data that we're getting, and so basically like. For a show like Dublin Murders or any other kinds of shows, then we can say, what do we want to target? We want to target older women that like crime dramas. You can target that. You can get so specific though. Older women that we know have like SVU and watch that. Target. You can get so specific with things like that, and then from there, from our Instagram ads and stuff too, then you get the data, so we can see how many people. The view through rate. So like a lot of the things that like KPIs are key performance indicators. View through rate, are people watching the whole thing?
Through, yeah.
Are they clicking on it and looking at the page? Are they liking the page? And then, a lot of our ads will still always have you sign up for a 7-day free trial. Are they signing up for STARZ? Are they staying on it? What are they watching when they do sign up? How long did they stay for? All these kinds of things that factor into all the data that we have and that help kind of inform the marketing decisions that we make every day.
So you're at like the head of marketing, like in the most captivating marketing space right now, which is like content marketing and stream marketing. Where do ethics play into it for you though? Because you got a lot of power, baby boy.
I know.
Like you could push propaganda down people's throats if you wanted.
Yeah, I mean,
are you pushing it down our throats?
I mean, I don't think propaganda.
Are we?
I would never put propaganda in terms of. I mean, elections and all that stuff. That stuff was definitely really crazy. But in terms of, I mean, all we're trying to do is sell you a show and get you to sign up. So I mean, I don't.
He seems like a good guy. I'll vouch for him.
I don't think that like ethics in terms of that. We're just.
Do you know what I mean though? Like,
no, I know what you mean, and like. At what point?
Is there a social responsibility as a marketer where you're like, damn, this ad kind of has a lot of leverage. Am I pushing out like good moral stuff into the market?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're just there to entertain.
Sell, yeah.
So like someone can always say like, and we skew old too. We're not a platform where like, kids are on our, younger children are on our platform and they're watching, a really violent show or something like that. So I think, ethically, I think it's not that harmful. We're just selling
Yeah.
a show.
You know what I mean, though?
No, I know what you mean, and it's also like there's that documentary on Netflix, which I actually haven't watched yet. The Great Hack, I think it's called.
Seen it?
About all the stuff with the Cambridge Analytics and just it's insane the amount of data. So I definitely hear you in terms of ethics and how far we go and how, you know, there's another thing that we use where this certain company that provides for us, they have smart TVs and they can help serve ads to people, and then they can tell us if those people tuned into our shows.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
Privacy's out the door, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's
just
kind of
inevitable,
wild
though.
to say, and then like, or it can be the other way where we know someone was watching an episode of our show, and then we can serve them 2, 3, 4 30-second ads over 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, all that kind of stuff. It's wild. It is crazy, and like I hear you on ethically, like what are the boundaries? You know how with phones and with data we're all being tracked all the time, but I mean at the end of the day, I think I heard someone say, a lot of people saying like data is going to be more rich than oil soon. Like data is where it's at. Data is the future. You know, everyone's harvesting data. Everyone wants as much as they can. So then as companies, you can inform the decisions you make with entertainment wise, the content that you're greenlighting, and then the marketing strategy and all that kind of stuff. Data informs everything now. It's wild.
Hey, anybody have questions? Anyone?
Yeah, I got one.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Jack.
Oh, sorry.
You're a great guy. Go ahead.
So there's like a lot of currently popular aesthetics in marketing. Like you kind of see like 90s kind of aesthetic. You see kind of like this modern kind of sleek look.
Yeah.
What do you think's the next marketing scheme? Or
Oh,
One sec. I'm just going to repeat it so people can hear.
totally. Yeah.
Jack is a master graphic designer.
Got it.
And he said there's a lot of aesthetics out there and certain themes that he's noticing in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's the next wave
Yeah.
of aesthetics that's going to come out on a digital scale? Like digitally?
Yeah, digitally.
Yeah,
marketing.
digital.
Okay, just marketing.
Digital is a good one to frame. So,
That's a fire question.
yeah, that's a great question. I think that graphically, which we've been doing and I've been seeing more of in terms of the ads that get served. When you're serving more people on a mobile device, it's really hard to crunch down. You're making these shows in a vertical format. So it's really hard when you have your phone like this to serve someone a vertical ad. So people are getting more innovative, and I think that's going to be the future of how you graphically present the show. So some things that some people have been doing, and it's utilizing graphics and also people's shorter attention spans. So one thing I've been seeing is you'll get served an ad and it'll be like a 3 box. So you'll get served a 15-second ad for a show, and it'll be like boom, 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 like 3 different things go, like 3 plot points in the show
on the story.
Exactly, or just an Instagram ad, and you're selling the show in a shorter format, and people have shorter attention spans. So I think graphically you're going to see a lot more of that, of just how do we sell it and break it down faster, whether it's messing with frames of just 3 different plot points. I've seen things where it's just you have one ad and then the key art is on the top and the bottom. Swipe up swipe up is very simple stuff now. And I just think
if you're not verified.
Not if you're not verified. And I just think people are going to get more innovative in terms of that. Another thing is like more interactive ads. So I remember, what was it? One ad that I loved was for A Quiet Place, where it was an Instagram ad. So I was going through my Instagram, and then I swiped through and I got served the ad, and it was the automatic. You know, when you turn your volume down on your phone, what I saw on my screen was a graphic of my phone, the normal phone volume you see on an iPhone, and it was automatically getting turned down. And I literally thought someone had hijacked my phone. So I was like, instead of swiping through the ad, I was like, what's going on? And then it said, be quiet. And then it dove into the Quiet Place ad.
Genius.
So you're going to see more. I think you're going to see more ads like that are interactive. So people, now with Netflix and stuff, overall viewers and consumers are getting used to not having ads. So when we do have ads, we're going to have to get more innovative of interactive ways, and how do we bring them in? I think another one that got banned from YouTube was The Nun had one, where it was a 6-second ad between your 2 things, and it was literally just the nun popping out and screaming as loud as it could at you, and that got banned from YouTube.
That's fire.
Because it was like deemed too scary or something. But I think you're just going to see more, people are going to have to get more creative, and like that example I just said, of more interactive and kind of drawing you into the ad, as opposed to just a typical 15 or 30-second spot where right from the get-go you're being sold something, because people today with ads especially don't want to feel like they're being sold something right away, whether it's a product or whether it is a show and saying you should watch this. So how do you get in and how do you convince people to watch something from a more creative standpoint, I guess. Yeah.
Hey,
Answer, man.
Yeah. Hey.
Blake, any questions of you? Magic Mike?
With all the data,
Yeah.
why are we caught in this bubble of remaking old movies and shows? It just seems.
I agree with you.
like what is happening
Yeah.
now?
Well, let me just reiterate.
Yeah,
so you can get
totally.
it. Magic Mike asked, with all the new data and all of the new data, why are people so obsessed with rebranding
Remakes.
and reinvigorating these old shows?
Yeah.
And what's a good example? Give me one quick.
There's a million.
Yeah, there's a,
They just
The
greenlit
Jetsons. The Jetsons is coming up.
Yeah, they just greenlit a reboot of the Lizzie McGuire show with all of the cast, things
Dude,
like that. So
and Charlie's Angels
yeah.
is everywhere in
Yep.
the city right now.
I agree with you. So I think it's crazy because there's so much original content. There's over 520 scripted shows that are going to come out in this year alone. And I think it's insane. But I think what it comes down to is, and I don't want to say Hollywood is lazy, but to a certain extent, yes, sometimes. And I think the main thing is it's already built in IP. So you think from a business perspective, whether it's selling tickets or even streaming, you can say, oh my God, Disney Plus is they're going to do a new Hocus Pocus, and then the people my age that grew up with Hocus Pocus were in already. You're already in. Whereas if I told you, like, if I sold you a log line on a new show and I was like, you should sign up for this streaming, or like there's this great new show and you explain it to someone, that doesn't have as much gravity to it as like the main thing is it's already a built-in IP. So you already have that, and then you have an older audience that are gonna show up, or if you do the remake right, will show up. It's the same thing with thing with Joker and all those kinds of things. People, if you execute and you do it well, you might have asked someone, do you think we need a really dark take on the Joker? And they probably would have said no, but it was a great movie and it made a lot of money for Warner Bros. But I think overall it's already it's kind of easy to a certain extent, and there's already a built-in IP there. And people are then going to show up and either subscribe for something like that, or if it's a new reboot of a show or of a movie, they're going to show up as well. So like, why do we keep making, in 20 years, how many trilogies of Spider-Man are we going to have? Who knows?
Well, dude,
But people continue to show up. And the other thing too is like, I think Hollywood they'll never stop making it until there's one really bad that loses them money, and then they're like, all right, well, we're going to stray away from that for a while. But then sometimes they even come back to it 10, 15 years later, because they think if we wait long enough, people will have forgotten about that really bad reboot we did 10 years ago, and we'll do it now, and we'll reintroduce this new generation to the new Spider-Man or the new whatever it is.
I think nostalgia marketing is so effective.
And that as well.
Playing on nostalgia, like, think of the show, like Jack and I branded our whole fourth season based off Avatar: The Last Airbender, because it was our favorite show growing up.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
I haven't seen it, but I hear good things.
It's incredible, and it was like 15 years ago, but
Yeah.
it stuck with us always. And people always want to revisit moments they had when they were growing up or they were younger.
100%, and that's it too. So it's the
That's why
built-in
Star
IP,
Wars is still obviously
and
it's a
the
massive
nostalgia. Yeah, and it's like the memories. Like when I went to go see the Force Awakens when they did the first reboot,
You
it
were
was
bawling
like
your eyes out?
I didn't cry, but it was like
Come on, Nick. Come on, brother.
I was close, but
Okay.
you're so right too. That should have been my other part of the answer, is the nostalgia of it. So it's like I think back to when they re-released The Empire Strikes Back in theaters, like my 8th birthday, and me and 10 of my friends and my parents lugged everyone to New York, and we went to go see Empire Strikes Back. And like, it's a memory. When I see a Star Wars trailer, that just pops up in the back of my head. That music, those things, that kind of. So I think you're right. The nostalgia as well plays into it.
That was your birthday party?
That was my birthday party. You saw The Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
Did
when
it-
they re-released it.
Did anyone wet the bed in the theater?
No, there was one girl though that was scared of Yoda. Scared her, so she had to walk out, and my sister walked her out of the theater.
I went to a birthday party.
Which I get it. Yoda's scary to some.
No, he's actually like the most kind character in all of film history.
Yeah.
But
To an 8-year-old though.
well, growing up, we went to a theater
Yeah.
movie party, and we saw the movie Master and Commander.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wearing sweatpants, and I fell asleep. And this was back in the day when I was like, we actually weren't that young. We were like 12 or 13. And I fell asleep, and I peed myself.
Was it all the
no, it was just
was it all the ocean on screen that got you?
Well, I got to be honest, dude. I don't know why. It just
Or was it that boring?
It was just a really traumatizing. I don't.
Oh, so you were scared?
I wasn't. I'm traumatized that it happened.
Oh, got
and
it.
then
I was like, Master and Commander wasn't that scary of a movie.
I know. And I walked out of the theater, and there was a big wet mark on the back of my sweatpants.
Oh, this. Sorry, I thought you watched it at someone's house. This was in theaters.
Yeah. So like everyone in the theater was like, "What the fuck happened to you, kid?" Like,
Birthday parties.
they're like, "Dude, this movie was PG."
You were like, it was so good, I couldn't get up to go to the bathroom that I just had to pee myself.
I was like, "Yeah, there's some in that root beer, man. I don't know. I couldn't
Extra
control
large,
myself,
man."
dude."
Oh my god.
All right, give me your favorite project that you've personally worked on
Oh man.
with Lionsgate and STARZ.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so new into the STARZ thing. I would have to say, I mean, there's a couple that come to mind.
I think it's really funny that you were working on Tyler Perry movies.
Yeah. I know.
It's awesome.
And like with things like that, of course, it's you just have to. We use our research department and stuff, and you just have to get, and they give us data and stuff, and you just have to get into the headspace of that demographic and what kind of a trailer will they like, and what kind of
Were you hanging out in different neighborhoods?
Yeah, no. But I will watch. I'll watch. When I was working on those things, or now at STARZ, we have a lot of African American shows. I'll watch a lot of that content and see the kind of shows. We also have data where we can see people that are watching Power and what they're watching on other networks. So and I'll dive in and watch those kinds of shows as well, just to be kind of better informed, and I also just enjoy watching everything.
Well,
so.
Adib, you'll love this. Nick did all of he was like a central figure in marketing for the Uncle Drew movie. You are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I worked on it. I wouldn't say central figure. But I worked, yeah, it was a fun one.
So were you diving into the brains of like NBA fans for this, or like Pepsi fans?
There's a part of it. We had a lot of partnerships on that film as well.
Really
and
interesting concept.
Yeah, definitely, and it was definitely a difficult marketing campaign because not everyone had seen the Pepsi, because it was basically a riff off of off a character created from a commercial. So it was like, and I would tell people like what I was working on, and they were like, it was like people had to like do homework in their head of like, wait, wasn't that ad with Kyrie Irving as? And so people were confused. So it was definitely a difficult marketing campaign to sell, where we're just like, people thought that it was still going to be almost like a Ashton Kutcher punk show. People thought when we first announced it that the movie was still going to be, oh, it's Kyrie Irving and he's dressing up and he's joking around. Exactly, and he's joking around and he's fooling people, like almost like a Jackass kind of a movie. But it wasn't that. It was like, no, Uncle Drew it was scripted, and Uncle Drew is the character. Like, there's no Kyrie Irving. Obviously, he plays him, and so that was definitely a difficult thing to overcome.
There were a lot of Boston artists on the soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
Uncle Drew.
Yeah, that was a fun soundtrack.
Yeah, that was like sick. We had a producer on the show in Boston.
One of my buddies worked on that soundtrack. The guy in Lionsgate Music at the time.
Fire.
Yeah. Favorite project though. Back to your question. I think for me, in terms of, I always go back to this one in terms of difficult sell, very collaborative effort with everyone in marketing, whether it was partnerships, print, AV, publicity, everyone working together. We worked on this movie called Wonder with Jacob Tremblay and Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson.
It was about the kid, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Based off a book.
Movie was dope.
It was good, and it was good movie. We do a lot of like testing and stuff, and like the.
Oh, you were telling me about this.
Yeah, and so it was definitely it was a hard sell too, and.
Weren't you showing it to classrooms and stuff?
So our partnerships team did a really great job of partnering with teachers, because it was already based off a book, and a lot of younger kids read the book. So they did like a classroom, like teacher classroom kind of a thing, go through the book, and they had like exercises and stuff. So we got all these kids excited for it, and then we bought out theaters for whole schools and classrooms, and got word of mouth going. But it was definitely, as a campaign, it was just a really collaborative effort across everyone, and we all worked really hard. And I think the overall, we surprised everyone. Like the overall expectations were not high, and we ended up going, and we made like 130 million domestic, which was kind of crazy.
Is that how you judge the success of a campaign? Is the money the movie makes?
That is a tough question. To a certain extent, yeah. Which is when I worked in theatrical, yeah. But you can also every movie, and even now it stars every TV show. We have our own goals for it. So yes, you want as many people as possible to see the movie. But I think there's other terminologies too, where sometimes it's a really difficult project or it's a really hard sell, and still creatively, like my boss was really good about this. Sometimes when we had movies that wouldn't do well, and he, on that Friday or that next Monday after opening weekend, he would say, it didn't do well, but like we ran a good campaign, and I know we ran a good campaign, and there's nothing else I would have done differently with how we were with the creative assets we worked on and our message and all that kinds of things.
But Nick, your ass is on the chopping block.
Yeah, I know. So it's definitely tough. And same thing at STARZ, where there's you can boil it down to ratings, but there's so many. Every show and movie has a goal too, whether it's adding a lot of subscribers or retention. So we want people to watch.
Yeah, you have
they're
metrics
watching
you wanna
for a
hit.
big show for Power and Outlander, and then the goal of this next show is they want to stay on and watch, the next big thing. So I think every show has its own goal and stuff. And I think being a creative, I think my team too, we'd have our own goals and just overall pushing the boundaries of creativity. So when we look back and we're like, yeah, we worked our absolute hardest, and those assets, that poster, the digital campaign, and the trailers, that was all we did a really good job, and there's nothing better we could have done from our perspective. And I think that you can merit your success kind of on that. Of course, yeah, not every movie's going to open, and that's the other thing too, is like there's gonna in entertainment, you're gonna fail a lot, which is one thing to say. Like I've had, especially being at Lionsgate, we had you had your flops and you had your highs, and you're gonna continue to fail a lot. You just got to keep
Tony Robbins with the motivation.
Yeah, he's got to keep pushing. But yeah,
real quick, because
Mm-hmm.
we got a rippity wrap soon. But 2 quick questions.
Yeah.
One, let's say there's someone listening, right? And all of my friends personally, a lot of them want to get into, if not the agency side,
yeah,
just like the entertainment business.
Yeah.
A lot of them, they might work corporate jobs, and the entertainment business fascinates them.
Yeah.
What sort of disciplines and characteristics have you noticed for people who have longevity in the industry?
Totally, yeah. Kind of like what I went back to. I mean, passion is the first one, of course. Be passionate about it. If you're in it just for the image and like just to make money and things like that, or to get your name, but you're in it for the wrong reasons. So I think passion comes first and foremost. Kind of what I was talking about earlier of being up on everything. That I think as a characteristic and overall, you just really need to be in the know all the time. You never know who you're going to bump into. You never know what kind of meetings you're going to have with certain people. Just to know, you don't have to like watch everything, but just to be
aware.
Exactly, be aware and be in the know of everything. I think compassion and kindness goes a really far way.
Tony Robbins.
You've got a lot of there's still a lot of the older mean Hollywood people I've come across and interacted with, and I think it's becoming more of an industry where kindness goes a really long way.
I think that's globally right
yeah
now.
Oh no,
This
totally.
is a
But
shift.
like you look at, like, you watch Entourage and you see like the Ari Gold, and like that's a lot of people's perceptions of an agent in Hollywood. One of my best friends is an agent, and he's not like that at all. And I think that and people think that you have to be like that to go far in the industry and to make it, when it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm actually reading Bob Iger's book right now, which I highly suggest.
Not a huge reader.
For your listeners, it's called The Ride of a Lifetime, and he kind of talks about his compassion is kind of, he was the CEO of Disney, and he talks about that, and he said one thing that was kind of like, he said he always made it a point when he was high up in every meeting to engage or at least acknowledge every person at the table, whether it was a 15, 20, 30 person meeting, which I think even something as small as that goes a long way. I've been in a lot of meetings where you have these big egos come in and they don't pay attention. They don't give, we're all still human and people at the end of the day. So I think when he said that, when I was reading and he said that, I was like, wow, that's a really good, it's a good point. So I think kindness, compassion.
Okay. I need you on a 30-second answer for this last question.
Okay.
You ready?
Go for it.
We're on some boss talk, right? Me and you, 10 years.
Yeah.
You'll be like if I'm estimating, you'll be like 38.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll call it that.
I'll be 33.
Yeah.
Jack will be 56.
Mm-hmm. You have the biggest podcast around.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Where would you like to be positioned? Like you're on some boss talk. 10
man.
years.
Yeah.
For real though. Like,
yeah,
honestly.
of course. I mean, for me and where I'm at now, of course, everyone's going to say like CMO. Be awesome.
Fire.
Yeah. Of a company too that I truly believe in, and a company that I believe in the content that they're making. And the stories that they're kind of telling.
And you'll be like marketing like teleporting
yeah,
services and
yeah.
stuff.
Who knows what we'll be at that. So that's probably the end goal. We'll see. You know, it's a journey. We'll see how it goes. But then I have always had this itch and this idea of kind of TV development and production, because I always just watch these shows and I'm in such awe of, you know, all the creative and the ideas and everything that goes into the writing and the producing and the shooting and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, maybe it's a second career later on or something like that. But
executive
even,
producer.
Even trying to dive into that, and like, I don't think I can write, so I'll never be a showrunner who can write his own show. I don't think. I've never tried, but touching the production and creating a show and really having ownership of it, because right now I have such respect for the shows that I work on.
You want to try the other end?
I'm a creative in one aspect, but they're the one actually creating the material that I then get to boil down and sell a certain cohesive message to the larger public. But I'm always in such awe of like when a show comes together and you're like, there's 2, 3, 4 years that went into this show, and I just think that's so cool. Yeah.
Hey man, I've actually really believed in what you're gonna get done. I honestly think let's run an interview in 10 years. You'll probably be a total boss.
Yeah, I'll set a reminder on my phone. 10 years from
I
today.
know what our phones gonna look like. They're gonna be like holograms.
We might not even have phones. You watch Black Mirror?
I watched one episode and
And it shook you?
I had a similar Master and Commander moment. Shifting, so I was like, whoa, stop.
At the age of 22. Nice. Hi, I'm Nick, and that was my golden hour.